European Ultimate Championship finals in Bruges, Belgium. I am Hannah Penbury, delighted to be joined on this live stream by the one and only Ali Thomas.
Pretty decisive opening statement from CUSB there, and you can see they're really fired up.
YAKA being a very fun club to play with, attracting talent from both sides of the Atlantic. But those players perhaps helping them in previous years to finally break into the top set here in the women's division.
In front of us on offense, getting us underway against CUSB of Italy. They've just seen their male counterparts not succeed against the likes of Clapham, but an early error from YAKA is going to give the disc to Shout Steeline.
So YAKA have been looking pretty dominant. They've capped everybody at 15, haven't had any games where they have not scored 15 goals. Their closest game, I believe, was 15-9 earlier in the tournament.
Just over the line.
Looks a bit too close to call from here, but it looks like the players will discuss it on the field. Got a YAKA player calling the goal.
Yeah, Chassigno puts the signal and hits a break straight out of the blocks for the Italians.
From CUSB there, and you can see they're really fired up.
Oh, as they well should be. The defending champions here through the tournament had a slightly trickier path into this women's final.
CUSB struggled a little bit more. They've had matchups in worse conditions and on worse fields, so that potentially leading to slightly tighter scorelines. The weather and the conditions a bit of a leveler. They had to play Valkyria twice, were able to prevail twice. I think they're challenging of their games. So YAKA probably the favourites coming in, but CUSB showing that they're definitely not going to go quietly.
Another of the international collective for the Yakitos in Bringel.
That is the kind of decisive play that YAKA have been throwing all tournament. They have the deep cutters, they have the handlers. There are certain handlers who really, really love to look long.
Greta Meliger there, they'll isolate her a lot in space. If she's having a good day, the Italians are going to be storming perhaps ahead in the early stages here. Scazzieri. Irene looks around. Has to put a chuck in and hope. Meliger, though, far side, the tall Italian reels it in, and that is the second point for CUSB. So 2-1. YAKA lost in the semi-final 13-12 on sudden death, the last European Championship finals before the pandemic, 13-12. So the YAKA players wanting to go on the charge, Balabas on the end of a huck rather than the beginning. It's okay. We're well into the depth of this tournament as commentators. It's been a bit of a grind here out on the fields, but we are delighted to be doing so. Would we be rather anywhere else? Absolutely not, as we see a CUSB overthrow on the far sideline. The CUSB error giving the YAKA offensive line the disc back. Bringel, the Portuguese contingent for this YAKA side. Happy belated birthday to her sister, Felipe. Oh, and my goodness, that is a beautiful backhand. The target in the end zone is found, the number 96, Olga Chininia.
And that would not have been an easy award to win. There were lots of very lovely people on that team.
Yeah, and a successful campaign also. Although Czeszki, the number 31, I believe it was actually playing for the team that took the only defeat against that 2019 Eurostars tour in Raleigh. Phoenix, they had to have a Eurostar to beat the Eurostars. And a huge ripper from the captain, Francesca Sorrenti. Sorry, not the captain, that's Pancotti, number 11, that's
Nice.
the captain. Pressure on the defensive handler set. And a big huck again. It's going to be a game of throws, perhaps, this match. And just about sails out of bounds.
Yeah, just a bit too much IO on that, made it tail far too much to the right. It looked good when it came out, but not quite good enough.
De Laval, the intended target, but unable to capitalise. But a slow start for the Italians on this second asking. Oh, it is a beautiful flick, but Fenix in the air, and she's going to snatch that out of the sky, as she tends to do. I love the scuba fake there, Robin. Fan of this. And she's become such a key part. This is her 4th year with the YAKA team, and just enough bubble, but that's a nasty come down, and you can see the look on the face. That's so sad to see.
And some applause for the CUSB player as she manages to get herself off the pitch.
By virtue of the orange necky, I think that might be a Scazzieri coming off, which is devastating. The two Scazzieri sisters, so pivotal for this shout side, and we've seen them be really unfortunate with injuries. We've already talked about Farolfi, but I think they were intending on bringing 28 players, but they've only brought 21 over the past couple of weeks. Oh, absolutely. There is it's becoming a growing sort of field of study for ultimate players as we see Melega going to the ground, but not able to come up with the goods for the score. Painy things, but nothing too long term. Maybe see her back on the field later. But they do have a very deep squad as we see Frangipane take it out of the sky and immediately pop it into the zone. And that is a hold for the Italians. But it's still very cold. Looking pretty hot, though, is Ines Bringel as she puts a release valve out into space for Elise Becquet. Le Bon in the middle, Nanu. Back to Bringel. When she first was playing with this YAKA side, Bringel, in fact, I think she was playing, oh my goodness, as my brain tries to remember stuff, Chesky goes big and then gets a big piece of Eline Mondiaux. Frangipane. Pancozzi with the lethal inside. This time, no errors. Melega opens up the arm around Saiba. Oh my goodness. That's Bus trying to get the block, puts enough pressure, giving us all the facts. If you want to have an in-depth knowledge of the YAKA side, do watch that stream game back. It is available for you free, forever, on YouTube. Becquet just about getting it over the top, sneaking it over Pancotti. Some slightly risky biscuits. Oh, and you see Bringel track that one down. Good mental focus and acuity, but of course, this YAKA side is very deep. Very large roster. These players are pretty fresh for this 4-day tournament. And there's an inside to Bringel, and it's a goal for YAKA and another break.
That was an excellent cut from Bringel and really helped out that YAKA side because everything looked very static in the end zone.
Bologna producing so many talented athletes. They have representation at the championship finals in all 3 divisions.
We went there for a week with ULTI.TV and we're producing some long and short editorial stories for you. So subscribe and then be in the know.
Scazzieri. High grab. Nice work around the back here as we see him melt to match. Seems to have completely stifled, but there goes Chesky on the far sideline. Normally playing on the D-line for CUSB, but this is her paying some double duty, and there is the goal eventually. However, travel is going to be called by Fenig. Smutching up Gaia Pancotti.
Some of the CUSB players on the sideline having to decelerate quickly and halt their run onto the field to celebrate.
Loving the power plat look that Fenig has. Nice round to Seibert, who's, I believe this is her first appearance on CUSB, but we'll have to do some fact checking. The Austrian. Sean Colfer is nodding his head, covering this women's division for ULTI World, working super hard and jumping into our booth on the odd occasion.
Got a great team here.
Absolutely. So back in action, Chesky pops it up to Pancotti. She nearly didn't get that. Just, here's a disc for you in the face. And there's a disc for you in the end zone. It's a goal for Shout.
Very similar to YAKA's last goal down that end zone. Quite a static stack, standing central. And then it's that dump cut, getting free up the line. Just a cheeky little pass in.
Practiced in a public field. We'll know. See some hot pressure defense from CUSB here.
CUSB look like they're running a little bit of a poachy look.
Paula Bass playing on that stress fracture. pops it through a sneaky, slicey break. Mondiaux with her own variant, nice and low. Gina pops it back. Has options available, but chooses the high dish, and that is gorgeous. I've seen someone take a big full backhand hook to the face with a wristwatch. It was not great, but that was just good enough. The release valve, escape hatch, high throw, as we see the Italians get forced into a throwaway frangipane, the intended target, and immediately the response, but not quite there. A little bit of a winding.
An injury call is signalled.
All right, that looks to be Knudsen. Oh, and thank you, Mats, in the comments. Seibert has 3 nationalities, but none of them are Austrian. There we go. Getting myself confused, but no confusion here from the CUSB side as they charge down the field. Sorrenti looking around frantically for options, eventually finds Seibert.
So, ciao ragazzi, see you soon.
Oh, and that is a nice bid just to make sure on the far side of the field, the number 20, Celia Scalerini. Right now, we're seeing another CUSB's zone. These two teams haven't had the pleasure of facing up against each other, but we did see CUSB's zone actually against that Valkyria side. One has to think that the throwing chops on YAKA are probably going to be pretty good. I say, already seen some unconventional discs out of the hand of Mondiaux, as we see on the far side, Audrichon.
YAKA had a lot of practice playing against Love, the women's team from Belgium, through a zone for pretty much their whole quarterfinal. And YAKA struggled with it at first, so they managed to get those reps in.
And talking of close games for YAKA, they've pretty much rolled the pack here that they've played. And with throws like that, rinsing through the zone, you can easily see why. Pop back into the hands. Every third pass, of course, Rasta. Lee Mondiaux, Becquet far side. And I think that might be a Frisbee's hat she's donning there.
A little bit of support for the local team.
Oh, and the tournament organisers here, massive hats off to the Frisbee's crew. The Barbies, the Frisbees, running around, making this happen, adjusting the schedule due to these horrendous conditions early in the tournament. That's a high stall and a stall out for CUSB as we chat around. But Richon's going to have a few things to say about it.
So it looks like another perspective being offered by YAKA. But since the throw is a turnover anyway, it should stand. Unless a foul is being called. Richon was, she's sort of putting her hands together. Sometimes the foul signals are not entirely uniform across teams, across players. It is a contested foul, so it should be coming in maximum stalling 6. Well, stalling 7.
And Lawley on the far side zips it, and Pancotti is going to put another blade and going to the knees, but that is suspiciously open in the end zone. Bagley.
Yeah.
Or Rabagli.
Rabaglia.
That's the badger. Ali, of course, having moved to Italy recently, is much better at the Italian pronunciations than I, so I shall defer to her better knowledge.
Well, I'm sure I'm getting it slightly more right, but still probably not entirely right. It's a tricky one to wrap your tongue around sometimes.
So the CUSB zone continues to stifle this YAKA offense. Oh, a high risky biscuit over the top. That's exactly what they wanted to bait. And off to the races go CUSB. Czeski, Pancotti, back to Czeski. This is so important. If they can get this break, they're going to put themselves out in front once more. Lolly. Oh, and it's going to be asked of Czeski once again, but not going to happen this time.
It's these breaks. It's these big, blady breaks. They are just...
And that's one of the things you want to do in a zone, is to find the person isolated in the space and maybe try and throw it over the top, because there's very little wind right now. I say that, I can see the Eurodisc flags. There is a little bit, but it's not moving the trees as much as it was before. And there we see a little bit of movement through, but again, everyone quite short. Robin Fennick, oh, it nearly worked, you know?
She, I think, was just focusing on keeping her feet in, which she managed to do, but she could not manage to keep her hands on the disc.
Tell you what, though, highlight play for sure if that had come off.
I think that's still almost a highlight play. Oh, there we go.
Robin Fennick says, I'm sorry about that slightly high disc. Hold on, just let me go get it back for you.
She's considerate like that.
She's a nice gal, what can we say? The Dragon Thrust former mixed player, now coming to this European women's division. So nice to have her across. It was looking like it might not happen with the various quarantine and vaccine. Well, fully vaxxed since February, she told me earlier this week. But nice to have her with us. But at the moment, there seem to be some Frisbee antibodies, although as we now go towards Chassigno, pops it back. That's Della Valle. Alexia Chassigno playing for the French national team many times. Well decorated individual. And of course, back in the last contingent of the French women's national team, they played the bracket, so they played the schedule very, very well in Cure.
I see.
They went pretty high up the rankings off of a some called it controversial. I just call it smart. Win the games you need to win to know the schedule format, as we see the French throw it out of bounds. Katharina Meisel there. Oh wait, you know, the confusion earlier about Austrians. So Meisel is the Austrian on the team, coming from Vienna, currently living in Leuven, the PhD student in linguistics. So Meisel,
fun.
you know, maybe one day when you retire, you can come into our booth as we see Cheshki with the grab, sliding on her knees, just shy of the goal line. What a read from the Italian.
An excellent, excellent defense up until that point from YAKA, but just a millimeters pass so this will give CUSB another break.
Good to get an update at some point regards the status of Irene Scazzieri, who we saw leave the field early stages with that nasty knee bash.
She was on the sideline for a little bit. Someone had brought a blanket to cover her up. But yes, then I looked away and looked back, and she has gone. So I assume she's being treated. Oh no, there she is. She's just moved slightly further back. So she looks like she's got her leg extended. You can see that Tokai boot peeking out of the blanket there. One of the sponsors of this tournament.
And indeed of our stream. The money behind our servers for our commentary source. So make sure we have the numbers and names of the players out in the field ripped out from Ultimate Central. So if your Ultimate Central profile does not have your current jersey number present and correct, and you're featuring on these streams, please do consider going into your profile. We know it's not always the easiest website to use, but please update your status with your correct jersey number. It makes our lives a lot easier. So Mondio making short work now of this group zone. They seem to have found some magique. As we see Bus faking around, Bringel coming through, nearly clattering the CUSB defender. There is separation. Oh, it is the Russian for the goal.
That is an absolutely delicious IO break from Mondio. And what?
Well, you'll have to Google that one, I'm afraid, dear viewers, if you want to sign that one, because I feel like it's not worth our time to chat about the designs, as we see the designs that YAKA have to try and prevent CUSB. Can they put their plan into action? Oh, yes, they cannot indeed. That is a beautiful sitter, and Hanger in stride keeps it well away from the trailing defender, and that is a goal for Italy. They are putting themselves in front and taking half.
That huge bid from Bass unfortunately meant there was no force on the throw and able to just let rip all the time in the world and the space in the world to sit it out into space.
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, ULTI.TV, the best in the world.
Become a member and
fund
fund
our
our
work
work.
to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the ultimate world and beyond.
Hannah Penderbury here in the commentary tent. We've got our flaps open. Can't help it. They are indeed flaps and they are indeed open, so we can keep this game in our view. And this is Callahan country. Meliga looking a little bit lost for options after a fantastic pull. Penetrate through to Seibert, who has 3 nationalities. None of them are Austrian. But what are they? Can you guess in the comments? We'll find out. Fakes the backhand. But this is amazing smother cover defense from YAKA, and it just about gets in the head of Greta Meliga. We've seen her have so many drops on this field. It's so unusual, but when you put that much on one player's shoulders, having them as your isolated individual at the front of the zone, oh my goodness, a hammer over the top to Robin Fennick, and the dance celebration and kick and punch spike. Robin Fennick, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow, 2 spikes for the price of 1.
Well, this is a very drilled, very capable team. And they're pretty intelligent as well. They think a lot, certainly think a lot about gender equity type issues. These Italian ladies are such inspirational figures for female athletes around Europe in the way that they play, but also the way that they think and the way that they run. And we're going to run that one down. Nearly gets the trailing edge. Devastation, though, for the young Cecilia Scaglierini.
Yeah, that looked like it was a couple of centimeters away from her fingers. An incredible tenacity and gumption to try and get that bid fully horizontal and off the floor. CUSB now setting up a zone of their own.
Indeed. Ines Bringel with the fiery fakes. Working it nicely, no. Are we going to see them get pinned? Some of the shots over the top haven't worked. The flat ones haven't. Are they going to bring out some maybe upside down all around? Bringel looking downfield. Oh my goodness. Getting a lot of contact there. Calls the foul uncontested. Shame that Scaglierini did have the separation for sure on that chance at offense. The way these 2 handlers are moving, it's a nice display of how to fake meaningfully. As Matthias trots across just in front of us. I think she heard me, Ali.
You're cosmically linked.
Not a bad person to be cosmically linked to. Oh, and there goes Robin Fennick, finds Becquet on the far sideline, sneaking away like a little ninja. Bringel. Back to Fennick. She's going to choose a risky biscuit, but it's Fennick, so it works on the goal line, knocking on the doorstep, and there it is. Another goal for YAKA, and they're putting themselves in charge again.
This is so tense, Annie. I really don't know. I feel like there is absolutely no way of telling which team is going to come out on top. And I think
this is an amazing game.
This is an absolutely incredible game. And one thing that is such a facet of Ultimate that's so incredible as well as the spirit. And I will say the spirit so far in this game has been really, really good. Lots of respectful discussions and retracted calls. All of those, you know, good things we like to see.
And so, seeing what's in front of them on the field, I think that was a defensive miscommunication there as the mark comes in. but a slight sagging off the handler set, letting the resets go, pressuring the upfield, which is wise because the Italians have been doing a lot of isolation off the front of their vertical stack. A low one, but Pancotti brings it in, fakes the ripper, calls her teammates forward as she comes back for a little travel call there. But Gaia Pancotti with 4 goals on her stat sheet.
My God.
That was such a snatch out of the air. Pancotti, oh my goodness, in this Brinchel with the block. What a play. Now that is going to fire this game up. Add a lock to the wood burner. The Portuguese is here with 0 pressure. Into Brinchel, who got the block, and she's going to get the assist potentially. Oh my goodness, flying through the air goes Paula Bass, but cannot come down with it.
So that defensive look from Shout, they had 1 deep and 3 under, despite the disc being on the middle. Normally you see a poach on if the disc is on the far side, because that opposite side cutter is quite hard to hit. So you were able to see Mondio just get off a floater to that poach player.
It's going to be a high shot, but the players under it are the Italians.
Potentially a travel call.
To Frangipane. YAKA players letting them have the easy resets, but Paula Bass smacks it out of the ground, pops up off that stress-fractured foot.
She didn't go down gracefully. I was worried for her ankles for a second, but up she popped again.
And she goes immediately to the end zone, but that's a complete miscue there. That's a loss of balance from the CUSB defender. She pops up back out of the rubber crumb. Silvia Borghi, the chance getting in the way of Paula Bass. They need to put one in to stem the bleeding, as YAKA have gone 3 on the bounce, and it's just a miscommunication. 2 players coming together, bringing in Brinchel, and just putting enough pressure on. Easy initial pass to get us going. Bertin. Oh, and she's going to find Becquet in the front corner, and that is another break for the French. Is it going to be their year? Are they finally going to grasp a gold medal? It's looking pretty good here, Ali.
It certainly is, and it seems like they are getting more and more comfortable, more and more proficient.
Behave yourselves. But all good fun and games. No, we really are very glad to have you with us as we watch back some of the highlights of this marathon point. And where have you been for the past 10 years? But Rietschoten looking a little bit lost for options. Going to have to throw it and hope. Oh, you can see there, Meisel wasn't able to. October, it's autumn, hence the weather that's been howling a ghoulie. And Frangipane as the sun just saunters over the fields. It's nice to see a little bit of break from the cloudy, overcast conditions here, allowing these athletes to show us just how excellent they are. Frangipane tossing it up to Legala. Very physical player, Legala. Carmen Legala, very useful in their semi-final. Haven't had much duty on the field here, but that is a block for Alexia Chassignot. She says Chassignot.
Oh, very nice, very nice.
We love a pun. We love a pun on this commentary stream. Caressed. The wind has completely dropped in the second half. And you know what's really interesting? It's dropped, and YAKA have woken up. They are firing, and that is a heck of a read under pressure. Can it be another one on the board for the French? It pops in, and Fenig makes just enough distance. Little head spike there from the American into this second half for the YAKA players. CUSB needs to find some magic now. Oh, and it's not. It's Nano with the block, and Le Bon coming in and putting themselves. They're so dominant right now.
Le Bon looked so casual getting that run through D. She just carried on jogging as if she just swiped her card on a bus and was just, yep, that's where I'm going.
To be fair, I know for a fact that she is an uber athlete. Most of the players out here on the fields are, you know, in great shape, but Nanu just does so much. I think she can do like headstand push-up, no, handstand push-ups.
Oh, crumbs.
Yeah, one of those under lockdown doing the challenges of taking all of your clothes off whilst, oh no, putting clothes on, sorry, whilst in a handstand. And that is the goal for Paula Bus, but possibly a call. Signals of score, but big bid from Scazzieri, the elder.
She signals the score.
15-11, but with the love game, they came out in the second half and just silenced them. And that is what YAKA are doing now. They've got a big, old, fluffy cushion, and they've just popped it on top of the Italians' offense and just sat pretty on top of it. And that's why they have the buffer of 4 points in this women's final. Czeski, though, is going to have something to say about that. And it is a lasery flick, but that is sitting and hanging underneath it, though, with the read. The travel's going to bring it back, but that was a lovely piece of offense from Cecilia Scagliarini.
Yeah, Czeski doesn't necessarily look, I mean, as well, she might not look very happy about it. I think just a potential change of direction as she caught the disc is going to bring it back. So we'll see it here. Yeah, she does. I mean, I'm not a fan of travel calls in general, but she did take quite a few steps to slow down.
Seibert not finding much in the way of options upfield, but in comes Pancotti from the deep space. She's going to laser a flat one. Oh, and the layout is great to look at. Out. But that is going to be taken out of the sky. Anna Czeski, you thief!
Oh, no.
But back to
yes!
Gaia Pancotti, what a hero. Oh, my feelings! Oh, my feelings! And Anna Czeski goes down against Robin Fennig. Oh, Anna Czeski, hopefully she is okay.
That would be a huge loss. I mean,
we saw the Italian women's national team, who had so many of these CUSB players, struggle to come back into it after an incredible quarters final against the German women's team. Having had some time off, makes a miscue. This is the thing. We're seeing players coming in that have been sat on the sidelines for a while, maybe. Yeah, Katarina Meisel there with the attempt, but it's coming back off the foul call. Fennig now looking at her options, doesn't really like the look of any of them. It's going to be a high whisk. Oh, over the top. What a golden throw that was to open up the space, but a pick. Going to bring the score back. Doorsy type play on the field here. And I have to say, it's been really nice to see the overheads more used as we see one going up for Robin Fennig, who snaffles the biscuit. The key handler for this CUSB offense.
Putting her foot on the path that leads up this big mountain they will have to climb.
Well, there's some pretty good mountains in Italy, so I'm sure they're good at doing that. Lagala, oh, she hesitates far too long, and Janina closes the door, slams it in her face.
They can do quick turns, YAKA, but it seems like they do prefer to take their time and set up. As a huge one goes deep.
Becky has it in her grasp, and it's a goal! My goodness, Elise Becky, you legend!
Insane, unbelievable, incredible. There are not enough adjectives to describe that layout. Oh my word, Annie.
So, look at that body language. The YAKA side, the shirts of red, Le Rouge. We're not Allez Le Bleu today, we're Allez Le Rouge. And that is going to be game 215.
That in their game against Cosmic, they were down 11-10, scored a hold and then 4 breaks.
But there is the turnover. Cecilia Scagliarini cannot do anything but watch the disc bounce around in the rubber crumb in front of her, and it's going to be Alexia Chassignot getting us underway. Nice little view there of our camera person. Chips
has bounced in the centre.
Indeed, 2 women on the commentating and 1 on the main camera. We're looking for more people to do that kind of work. Also editors, so if you love what we do, send us a message.
The other Dane, Wolfgang, of course, playing for the CUSB side. Wolfgang actually having dislocated her shoulder early in the tournament, but she has been playing in this game. Nice to see her out there. Pickle upfield as both sides need to use every bit of energy they have to claw at each other.
This shout defense is so fiery. You can really feel their determination to not have this be the last point. Will it be enough?
Oh, I'd be more than happy to get a few more of this beautiful women's final. Knudsen pops it up. Dabin, not seeing her so much on the field for YAKA, but into Fennig it goes. It's so close. Paula Bass puts it up, and that's going to be Meisel underneath it. Can they do it? Is it going to be this moment that they finally get the gold medal? Paula Bass, the player from the Netherlands, pops to Meisel. She's going to go for it. It's going to sail over the top. It's not then. But that looked great until it just sailed over the fingertips of Matthias, and CUSB managed to hold on. They put pressure on. They made YAKA work for it, but see, YAKA are going to try everything they can. Knudsen on the mark. Seibert rips open the field with a huge sinking backhand. Meisel, though, underneath it with the grab. Oh, but immediate miscommunications. Oh, my Lord. Okay, the pressure is getting to everybody as we see Helle Wolfgang there, the number 15 that I spoke about, the other Dane. 2 Danes on the field. You love to see it for a French and Italian club side, but that's again a miscommunication, huge bid. And great work actually from Matcassini, staying out of the way, not coming in too hard, just allowing the turnover to happen. Sorrenti into Ceschi. This CUSB line needs to make it happen here. Scazzieri. Nice switching there, nearly coming in for the tip-off. Chassigno, but that is a goal, Liana Siebert. Finally, the CUSB players respond and put their first point on the board since we started to see what happens. Can the CUSB D-line snag another one off of the French? Or are they going to stumble here and allow this slick YAKA offense to work? It's been the D-line doing the duty, and it's a hand block. No call from Ines Bringel. What amazing spirit. Oh, this is exciting.
An incredible bid from Pancotti, who is now walking over to the disc.
Gaia Pancotti, so good all game long. Ceschi there, I'm available. You can reset the store with me. Scazzieri finds her. Oh, but an overshot from Ceschi cannot connect with Pancotti.
She has been playing, I think, a majority of the points in this game. Obviously an incredibly well-conditioned athlete, but this game has now been going for over 100 minutes, and everybody must be a little bit tired by now.
Mondio getting a little bit lost for options. This is top defense. Wolfgang there coming in and taking a lot of lag from Paula Bass. Lovely around Mondio, nice and easy. Finds Bringel. The two having played so well together in the Eurostar side in 2019. Bringel has a little look at it. Paula Bass working hard. Now it's Becker in front, isolating the space. Mondio, the creative throw, and sneaks one in. It's Mary for the goal! YAKA take home their first ever women's gold medal, and it is in delightful style. The ball puts the flag on the map for the French,
and you can see that was so delightful. What a second half!
Absolutely incredible scenes here in Bruges. What an understated way to take the win. You would not have known that was a championship point for them. They just looked calm, cool, collected, the same way they have throughout this entire game, and just freezing through Shout's fiery passion to take their first gold.
Congratulations to YAKA, commiserations to CUSB. They fought admirably in the early stages of the game. They came out with the first break. They looked so strong, but they just couldn't find an answer to the questions that YAKA were posing in the second half. It was just too much to be handled. The fire, the intensity, inspirational scenes.
Inspirational indeed, Hannah. This impressive group of women is going to Cincinnati and is poised to take on the world. We as ULTI.TV want to set up a field there so that we can showcase the European clubs and athletes. Become a member to make that happen. Au revoir.